Oh my goodness. Seriously, I have to just do it. It's like I can tell myself I don't have to think about things that don't matter.
I was designed to do those things. How the hell does this guy know this about me?
It's impossible to not see.
When Dan read for my sister, she was like, he's psychic. She's like, how did you know that?
Yes.
She's like, it's human design, guys. Like, it's just a testimony of how legit it is.
Seriously, Danny was like FBI or CIA. He's like, how the hell does this guy know this about me?
Having my chart read, there were just thing after thing after thing that I was just like, wow, that's me.
This man is reading me and I've never met him before.
I was in the midst of one of the biggest emotional waves I've ever been in my life, and he saved my life.
It seems like everybody has the same reaction. It's that aha moment, and they want to find out more. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Human Design Advantage podcast, our Wednesday night edition. My name is Jen, and our other host is Danny Guru. Hey, Dan.
Jen, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you, too. How are you this evening?
I'm doing just fine. Things are good. It's getting dark out real early.
I know it's throwing me off.
It's
So
throwing
if
me
I
off.
am slow on energy,
Right, it's slowing us down, Jen. We gotta beat it back.
yeah, the cats aren't too happy with it. Miss Aquarius likes to stay out a little bit later, so.
Well, my Willie is out, that's for sure.
Well, diving into tonight's episode, we're going to be doing the human design of Tulsi Gabbard. And before we start decoding her design, which I'm interested to see what you have to say and what comes up. Today's date is October 19th, 2022. If you have not already, please make sure you like, subscribe, and follow the show. I do have a couple of announcements. I made some posts, a lot of posts today. We've got a lot of things going on here at the Human Design Advantage. Next week, starting next Monday, we're going to be doing our free 5-day virtual retreat, Creating the New Earth. The links are already in the comments, so just check that out if that's something that interests you. We're going to be talking about how to balance the 4 key areas of your life. Me and Dan went over some of it today because it is one big, massive class. It's got a lot of information, and anybody who's ever sat on any of my workshops know that I do not hold back on the information that I give you. I try to give you as much information in the time allotted. So this one's going to probably be altogether about a little over maybe 6 hours. So we have a lot of really cool information coming to you. Also, on the 4th, me and Dan are going to be doing a mindful eating through your human design. That's been coming up a lot lately, the eating.
As it should, yeah.
It should, very much so. I mean, for me, it definitely came up because I'm consciously, I'm trying to get well, I can't talk. I'm really working on improving my health and what I eat and put into my system. So learning more about how my digestive type is and how I'm supposed to be eating according to my design, as well as applying mindful eating habits. I'm super excited to be diving into this class. So it's not a diet workshop. It's not counting calories or anything like that. It's really developing a relationship with your food and also understanding how you are supposed to be eating. All the links to that are in the comments already. And me and Dan were kind of talking about some things. We know that some people, depending on where you are with your journey, if you're very new to human design, if you're kind of in the middle, you've already had a session with Dan and you just don't know what the next steps are, or you're advanced and you kind of want to get more involved with it or learn how you can go further in human design, we now have a free consultation for you. We will touch base a little bit on your chart and stuff like that, but that is just so that we can help you better. So definitely utilize that. The link for
We want to get through people's basic needs up front.
Yes.
Just have sort of basic needs, and some people want to actually learn. So why go straight into a reading when we can go straight into learning? So
Correct. And
I'll teach a class, I'll teach individuals. It doesn't really matter.
that's exactly why we open that up, because we are going to have a lot more offers for you guys in whatever stage you are with this human design journey and deconditioning and really starting to live authentically the way you were created. So it's best just to jump on a phone call with us. No strings attached or anything like that. We just want to make sure that our whole mission here is to liberate the individual. And the best way to do that is to get on a phone call with you.
Liberating the individual. That's what we're after. And every once in a while, what we find out, it's not the right timing for you as well.
Yes, that's
important.
Let's
clear that before you start spending money, basically.
Yes. And also I'll pull this up too. I completely forgot to add it to the links, but you guys, I'm so excited to announce that you can go to our website and pull your own charts now. So we're going to be tweaking a couple of things. The page may look a little bit different, but if you are interested to know what your design type is and you don't know exactly where to go get the chart, I know we've done a couple of classes on this or videos, but we now have the capability for you to just go to our website and pull it.
Yep.
So I'm excited about that.
Me too. That'll be really handy. I've been going to Jovian Archive the whole time. It'll be strange for me to go to our own website for a change.
Well, not only that, but we did the whole Sunday show on the moon, and we were going to the Jovian Archive and actually, changing it.
Yep.
You can check the transits now. It is part of the chart on our website. So I don't think you can see it on the phone view, but if you look at it at the desktop, I know that it does pop up. So I'm still, working with that on the programming side.
Yep.
Still tweaking.
Yep.
But we have that capability now, and I'm super excited to be offering that to you. So
let's talk Tulsi.
Talk Tulsi. Yeah, we're going to dive into Tulsi.
So I'm biased. I like Tulsi. I started watching what she went through in her process while I was watching her design, and I started to recognize, nope, she actually did the correct thing for herself. I'm not sure if everyone's aware, but Tulsi announced about a week ago now that she made a big announcement that she has actually left the Democratic Party she just left it and she's become independent. She made a big deal of it, and she said why, and she said all the stuff that you and I would need to hear, Jen. She talked about, just the decadence way up top. So it was a big move for her, politically speaking, and she did the deed. She literally hopped off the bandwagon officially and loudly. So that's why she's all in the news and everyone's talking about her.
Mm-hmm. So of course, because she did something that was, against. It's not of the norm, especially for the Democratic Party.
It's a heresy. What she did was an absolute heresy. It was.
She's got that 5 in her profile. I saw that.
She does, and I want to have 2 charts here for Tulsi, but I just decided to go with this one. If we look earlier, she is a 2-5 projector rather than a 3-5 generator. So, but either way, that 5th line is so attractive. It is attracting people to her. There's no question. And people have been attracted by Tulsi for a long time. And when we look at her as a generative force, what we see is, A, she's got a lot of definition. B, she's a split definition. So therefore, it takes her time to do things. All new things have to whittle through a process, much like an emotional wave, but it's not emotional.
So she's completely open, and
she is. So she's so open, she doesn't always know what to feel. So undoubtedly, in Tulsi's not self, as she gets mired in the mind, away from her generative, she's got a strategy to respond. She's a simple responder like I am. And so that's all there is to it. And so she has that in her. She could have just totally not worried about it. But my guess is when it's a totally open solar plex center, what that really is not even knowing what to feel. So not only fear of the confrontation, and it makes you steer away from your truth until you come back to it. It also not even knowing what to feel about any of that. It could be confusing. She's got an open head center. So that lets me know, because my big question was, okay, so you got out of You got out of the rat's nest, out of the swamp. Good for you. But why did it take so long?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Why did it take so long? And so every time I look at her chart, I see that not knowing what to feel. Every time she would have even dipped a toe in the water of that, she would have come up against someone's emotional wave.
Which would have been magnified.
Magnified, right, Jennifer. And
so if they're that open, would it magnify it more?
Well, that's for Tulsi to answer. It's not so much more, but it will magnify it differently because the confusion of not even knowing what to feel. See, if you have a gate on an open center, even one gate, what it'll do is it'll create a theme for that openness, and it'll still magnify it, and it'll still try to avoid it, but it'll have a theme to it. With no theme whatsoever, it could just totally get confusing, and she's going to amplify it, and it's going to feel bad going into her. So, there's a whole party of people she left, and undoubtedly half of them are emotional. So as she would have been, she's a split definition. She's meant to engage with others. Only a single definition sort of can go it alone, but we're human. None of us can actually go it alone, but like a longer stretch of time or more directly, a single definition may do that. But as soon as it's a split or a triple split or any kind of split definition, it means it takes her time and she needs to speak with other people because there's hangups. Split definitions have a hangup. They have a hangup at the end of each gate that doesn't connect one of the splits. So it's not just the open centers, it's the gates at the end of each gate that would connect one of her splits. So she will wonder if she's talented enough, wonder if she's heard enough news. So I'm going to go through her missing gates. Gate 16 off of the throat would connect the throat down to the lower part. Yep, gate 16. So is she talented enough to do this? Is she going to survive that? She's questioning her own depth, and she's loaded with depth. She's got gate 48 unconscious twice. And so right in a row. And so she's got plenty of it, but she concerns herself that she's just not skilled enough. Wasn't sure if she should have it. Should she do it? Should she stay where she is? It's a whole logical process that's a not self theme for her. So she tortures herself with that. Gate 13 off the top of the G center would connect the throat with her generative life force, which in this case is this little binary of the G center, the yellow diamond in the center, connected directly down to gate 14 in the sacral. This is gate 14 is the sacral's sustaining abundant power to move a direction. It empowers direction. It's individual, it's moody, therefore it's also in a process that's called the pulse. So whatever her power is that's going to come out very often is going to be in a pulse. Her creation will be stuck in a pulse. It's there, it's not, it's there, it's not. It's independent of her will. So gate 13 says, well, what do I remember? Do I know enough? Did I hear enough? Did I hear enough secrets? I know I want to express myself. I've got gate 33. Gate 33 is a voice that says, I remember. I remember when. I remember when. I remember. It remembers everything, and it's about to spit it all out. But without gate 13 feeding it what it remembers in the continuity of the story that the identity pushes out into the world, she'll be insecure that she doesn't have enough of the story. I remember. Do I have enough of the story? Do I need to get out of this Democratic Party? Now, she doesn't know she's a generator. I assume no one has read for her in depth like I do, or even maybe a little bit. Someone might have mentioned something, she blew it off, but I can't tell that she's been read for. I think it would show up in her dialogue. So therefore, she doesn't know any of this stuff. She could have surrendered into response, and someone could have come up and asked her yes and no questions, and she could have got at her truth the moment something was suspicious. And the reason I say that is because look at this definition down at the bottom of her body graph, going from 58, the joyous, up to 18. Now, we've seen this before a number of times. This is a design.
Who else had this? I can't remember. Do you?
Several people. And the last one, I think, had it because it's a design to challenge the authority. It's a design of correction. It's a design of judgmentation. It's a design of having this splenic awareness that turns into your own taste of things. That left a bad taste in my mouth. You know what? That looks good. I like that. That's a good, and that's going right through the spleen. So that means it's immediate moment-to-moment awareness of that which is safe and healthy for her. So what did she end up doing? She just ended up withdrawing. She was only on the scene a little bit, and she wouldn't be on the scene for the Democratic Party, but she also wasn't out loud that much in public until this took place.
It would be the full channel, right?
Yep, the whole channel.
Okay,
So,
I just went through the slides. No, they had the start of the channel. Most of them that we went through. Trudeau, yeah, they had Gate 18.
one of the last two people we read for had this whole channel, I think.
Not recently. I just went through all the slides.
All right. Thought they did, but Gate 18.
But no. What I'm saying is that they did have 18.
Right. So 18, and 18's conscious in her, so she's aware of her need to correct things. Hey, this isn't working. The I Ching called it working on what has been spoiled. What's been spoiled? Yep. So you look at this, in Gate 58 is the fuel to do that. It's adrenalized fuel, and it's called joy, the joyous. The joy for the vitality of life, that once it's corrected what has been spoiled, the pattern will be identified and everything will live happily ever after. It's the joyous about creating something that lasts forever. That's a logical thing. It's logical to strike up a third party in our American politics, for instance. So she can have great joy being part of that potentially for the rest of time because she's got the energy to do it. It'll be a permanent correcting process. If she is this 3-5 profile, then that means she's perfectly designed to adapt to that correcting process and make mistakes along the way and try this and try that. It seems like Tulsi did a lot of trying this and trying that. One of the reasons I stick with a 3-5 profile, because it really, and she also made it through the military just fine, which is why I stuck with the generator type over the projector type as a potential.
Yeah, that would definitely be,
So there's plenty of projectors and manifestors and reflectors in the military. It's just that they're suffering, unlike the generators. They're suffering.
Right.
That's all.
So I would think that the generators would move on to like be generals and higher ranking.
Well, no. Remember, we're dumb generators, and if there are projectors and manifestors, they're still going to fill the ranks very often because one's guiding and one's impacting. Doesn't mean they don't or won't or can't at all. No, they will. Generators are of enormous impact. It's just it would be a mix and weighted, and she's made it up the ranks. I forgot, I think she made it up to a major now at this point in time, so good service will get you there. Anyways, she's made a lot of trial and error in her life, and she still attracted a lot of attention. Now that's to be expected when you're on the cross of the Maya, the incarnation cross. So what's she here to do? The third line's going to be an anarchist. Well, she's demonstrated anarchy. The fifth line is going to draw the attention of everybody onto her. She has done reasonably well at drawing the attention of everyone, and she can't help that. And then she's on the incarnation cross of the Maya. The Maya means the totality, all things, everything in the world, all the people, all the stuff.
Yeah. That would also be like I know like in shamanism when they say the Maya, it is everything.
It's everything. You and I are in the Maya. We make
exactly
Maya.
It's what is surrounding us. It's what we are living in.
Every time we wake up in the morning, we recreate the Maya as it was substantially the day before, on and on and on. So that's the Maya. The Maya is all things. And we're all in it. And her incarnation cross is that of a person who becomes expansive within the Maya. She's designed to start expanding and then not stop expanding until full maximum development of that expansion's potential is done. This is a driving force in her. So where I get her hold up is down at the very bottom, you'll see gate 42 off the sacral. Now that's her personality sun. Notice there's no gate 53.
Yeah.
It could be another one of those bridging gates. Gate 53 says, I'm the wild animal that will start the thing. I want the experience. I want to get an experiential process going. I'm a format channel. And like a dog on a chain, don't put me on a chain. I'm going to break loose. That's what 52 is doing for us. driving us into new experience. And gate 42 is saying, okay, I see what you just did for us, adrenaline center, but I'm the sacral. I'll pick it up and sustain it until its full, maximum, expanded potential has been realized. That's what 42 does. When you have the whole channel, it's a channel of maturation, maturing a process from the beginning through the middle to the end. Humanity has a genetic proclivity to start, go through the middle, and get to the end. She's only got one gate. That means as soon as she gets stuck in something, she's stuck filling it out until it's done. She has no fighter in the 52 that then fights for a new beginning, fights for a new beginning, fights for a new beginning. She doesn't have that. So she thinks her not self will tell her, I'm stuck here because I have to maximize my potential here. And look, she's got gate 32 in her body graph. She's got it 3 times. 32 on the right, and then again on the very bottom in Pluto, and then off to the left, Pluto on the design side. 3 times. This 32, fear of failure, but an incredible instinctual ability to get a splenic hit as to what's the right move. So if she allows the fear of failure to just wash through, she knows the next right move automatically. And if she allows that fear to sit, then that fear of failure and not working and the continuity getting broken up will cause her to surf the Maya poorly. So what took her so long? Well, she was surfing the Maya not as herself. I mean, that's the case for everyone, really, until they really wake up to their actual design. But as a generator, she's with no emotional definition. She's here to literally respond with the color as well added by the spleen that intuitively knows what's safe. She's here to respond with what is and isn't safe for her in the now, immediately, to all things. Like I said, we could have settled this for her a year ago or 2 years ago. Hey, Tulsi, you hear that stupid thing? Did you like it? Do you hate it? Were you going to say something to him? No, I might. Because that's a conflict. So now she isn't saying something. So now the open head picks it up with the gate of mystery as a flavor to that open head. So it's a mystery. I can't solve the mystery. I'm not sure about this mystery. I can't make a move. I'm a triple split. What do? I'm not listening to my responder. Back down to it's a conflict. Back up to gate. The open heart center, which has a flavor to it, which is shock. But I want to shock them. Screw these bastards. I want to shock them. I want out.
Yeah, I saw she had the gate of shock.
Yes, I want to shock it. And now it's inconsistent. So some days she wakes up and she wants to shock the system. You know what I mean? She needs to, but she's got to go slow about that shock. She's a triple split. And if you look over to the right, shocking things have got her into trouble before. It's in her Mars. That's where she...
Yeah, I just noticed that.
Yep. So, and it's also in a 6th line, which means it's 6 lines are always transitory. It doesn't mean she necessarily is going to shock every last thing all the time, like a 3rd or 4th or 5th line might do. But it means that she's going to find herself in it. And that 6th line is basically separation. Her shock, when she shocks, it's to separate herself on to the next mutative new thing. Life very much begins, our individual uniqueness very much begins with this channel of between 51 and 25, this channel of initiation. This is the first spark that happens when the seed meets the egg. It happens right here, and boom, starts the process of life.
When you add on Mars, the energy, it is also what are we devoted to? What gets us out of bed?
Absolutely. So
that ties into what you're saying.
It's tying in. So she won't necessarily know, but she knows she's got to do something. So there's a warrior inside her. If you have a 51, doesn't matter what line, there's always the potential that you can now leap into the unknown and get really, really melancholic. There'd be incredible melancholy just from this one gate over the lack of something integral in her life, the lack of something new and exciting. And if you're getting sick to death of the same old stories because your party sucks, then to her, that's what she's saying to herself. My party sucks. And she's getting sick and tired. It's only a matter of time before the unique individual pressure to move a direction 14 up to 2, gate 14 to gate 2, it's guaranteed going to happen that she will shock the system and move into a new direction. That's just the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
And she will do this in what might seem an immature way because it's in her Mars. So she's just like a kid. She's a 10-year-old. So a lot of things to say about the 10 or the 12-year-old. The 12-year-old boy, let's say, or a girl. Cute as a Dickens, right? Oh, she's 12. Look at her, adorable, blah, blah, blah. All the things. Adults can still say they're still adorable, but they're kids and they can be cruel as hell. You know, they could be mischievous as hell. They could be whatever. Immature. They're immature as hell. This is the bottom line. And so that's very much what Mars gives as a flavor to this codon inside our body that makes us have a human proclivity to want to leap into the void. Sadness over nothing new under the sun. I can't choke down another word of what my, majority leader has just said to us all. I can't take it. And boom, she leaps. And I love it. So she left. But the not self of her kept her back. That's what took her so long.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I don't really know much about her, and I
know plenty.
Maintain a neutral when it comes to these.
Well, it took her a long time. It
Yeah.
took her a long time to do this. I would say a couple of years. I'd say she started seeing this as soon as she was done being in the Senate about 2.5 years ago.
I'm pretty sure she started seeing it in the military.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Seeing it in the military, but she may have also gone into the politics after that, and then it was more of an eye-opening experience.
Right. Well,
because they're all tied together, but
exactly. Now she's not responsible for knowing anything. Look at the variables. She's got mostly right arrows, but what the world sees in her, they don't see her as G.I. Jane, Action Joe. They know she's in the military and they see her as the potential. But what the world sees most of is that left facing top design arrow, that red, that one. This is the brain system. And it's active. When it's pointing to the left, she's got an active, working, hungry brain system. It hungers. It just, what's this? What's that? And it's strategic. Left is strategic and focused and active, and it's able to go in and get things. But the rest of her is wide open. So if the rest of her tries to be strategic and say, my active brain's going and getting strategic things, what should I do with that? She's going to get lost. If she just allows the world to pull it from her, she gets found. It's a hell of a surrender. So she has to surrender to a responsive stance, and so she has undoubtedly got out of bed and gone to initiate. I'm going to do it today. She would tell her husband, I'm making up, pretend like examples, and she'd get up and suddenly her power's not there to do it today because she's got to wait for that creative pulse. She's got to wait for the warrior to leap. She's got to wait to gate 42 complete her process. She's got to wait for gate 32 to make sure that the coast is clear enough. I mean, it is about continuity. Her grounding is all about keeping a continuity, and it's the tribe, and she's always speaking for the tribe, the American tribe. She speaks for it like there's no tomorrow, Jen.
Yep.
Which is.
Well, I haven't really listened to anything that she said, but that's okay, guys, because I just
No, it's all good. It's healthy that sometimes one knows and one doesn't know, Jen, when we're doing this. It's wicked healthy.
I mean, yeah. Well, every time that I get into politics, I mean, it's politics. I don't trust any of them until, whatever goes on. That's just a protective thing. But I am glad to see what I have watched of her and what she's been talking about. She is at least giving enough information for people to start questioning and go and look for themselves. And that's, whatever side that they are on, they're all giving information. It's up to the individual to go look. And what she is sharing is something that people do need to start looking into.
And you're absolutely right.
For her to do that as the gate is shocking, which it did. I mean, everybody that was following her or in that political party or anything would have probably taken the time to start researching, which was good.
Yeah, that they didn't necessarily expect this. She pulled this out all on her own. She didn't tell a soul. When I say a soul, she had close friends, I imagine, but it was it was shocking.
Can I speak on the gate of 51?
Yeah.
So in my experience that I am recognizing with it, when that, the shock, it is something that we may have been playing with in the back of our mind, but we know it is anytime that I have experienced it, or I can recognize gate 51, when that energy comes through, it is go. Like, and there's no stopping. It's like the green flag, the gun went off, go, and it's like boom. And it's kind of amazing because the energy is set, just goes straight
And
through.
Jen, what about the stuff behind you that you leave in your wake? Hell with it, right? Damn, in other words, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead.
Yes. The gate 51 is something I can really recognize in my younger years. Anyone who knew me in junior high, high school, I mean, that I would be the definition of gate 51. And I just didn't care. Once I did, it was doing, but and being a manifester, there was a massive weight behind me. And sometimes people followed and sometimes people didn't. But I was the one that was more like lead the way, because I just didn't, I just did.
What I'm looking in then with her, as you add that on, is it keeps filling up that it would take time for her to have become expansive, work through the necessary conflict. I mean, it's conflict. You're open emotionally, you got a conflict. Period. In fact, if you're an open emotional being and you don't have the emotional solar plex defined, you live with conflict. Maybe you get around it pretty good. Maybe you found a steady point, but it's always there, ready to be a conflict inside of you. And that's why we want people to wake up so they can see it's not their conflict. And her her open head center would have added to all of that, the confusion. And then her open ego would have been like, am I worthy enough? Am I good enough? Do I know enough? Is this the right time? Until the shock came out and said, we don't know if it's the right time. We're jumping. We're leaping. So she leapt into what? Into the need, the adrenalized fuel to discover what's worth correcting. And in that correction, to mandate the need for challenge to authority in case that's what needs to be done. And how's she going to do it? With logic and details. This woman is never short on the details. She won't. In fact, that fifth line in her unconscious is all about practicality. She won't do something if it's not practical. She has learned the trial and error hard way. If it ain't practical, don't do it.
I bet she did some shocking things when she was younger, and it started to teach her that. Because I also have that 5 in my profile, and there are some times that I am trying to channel that inner rebellious teenager sometimes, right. But over time I have learned to I can't think of the word, but smooth it out. Like I'm a lot more calmer. But man, when I was younger, because I mean, I'm reading.
When it's damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead.
Oh,
then there's neither calm or not calm. There's only what's right in front of you, because that's what you're leaping into. Mm-hmm. And whatever's in your wake, it's like, I'm not sure what's back there no more. I'm done.
Yes.
Right. That's what you're sort of. I hope the chute opens. That's what the leaper does. The leaper leaps without knowing that the chute's going to open. So glad she.
Oh my gosh! Now that you say that.
Right.
Well, yeah. When I was younger, I used to swimming. I saw my friend jump in the pool, and I guess I was about 5, so I just jumped in because I thought I could do it. Scared my mom, and then 2 weeks later, I was doing flips off the high dive.
Right.
I did not there was no thought. I just got up there and did.
And especially as a child, that was be in your perfection, Jen. So when we add all of this onto her, and then we add the last channel that's here, so incredible power to challenge, a depth of knowing what to challenge, an incredible tantra emanating up from her sacral through the love of finding the right direction, basically, is what this gate 2 does. It is the gate of our driver. It is our genetic predisposition to drive in a direction, to move ourselves. And then the last channel that she has is this channel of acceptance from 17 down to 62. It's logical. It's in the circuitry of the logical collective. Just like the channel at the very bottom, circuitry, logical collective. So what's the scoop?
We talked a lot about this on Sunday's show, guys.
Yep. So in this logical channel, she's got a busy mind that is able to conceptualize all day long. Her mind is constantly churning through the logical concepts. And look, she's got a mirror. She's got gate 11 on the other side. By the way, that gate 11 shows up twice in her body graph. Most of her gates show up 2 times. Several of them, 2 of them show up 3 times.
On both in the.
Yep. You can see it all over the place. You got lots of 2s.
I noticed that.
Yep. And so it makes her compact. This way, I'll point something out about that in a minute. But this channel of acceptance is our genetic proclivity to literally, after we've come up with the logical opinion about how something should go, is to start applying that concept through the articulation of all the details. The first application of this channel of acceptance is to accept I'm not a manifester. I must first articulate it. That's what it's doing. Its acceptance is there's no motor up there. It's got details, and it's got conceptualizing a heavy, full cauldron of concepts ripping through. And when she can finally put it into the right details, she can go. It becomes practical. Release the leaper is what 1762 will say. This channel of acceptance. It will finally say, I've accepted that I have the details and I'm ready to speak. Release the leaper. Sort of like release the Kraken, but release the leaper, the jumper. And so she jumped. So other things about this that stand out to me for Tulsi, besides all the triple splits and the open centers, is the fact that she's only got 16 activations in her body graph. That's less than most. That's less than most. When you only have 16 activations or 15, the least I've ever seen, I think, was 14. It's because the planets are doubling up on either side, just the way the cookie crumbled, right? It's not bad. It's not good. It's just different, as is everything else. But when that happens and you're seeing all these lines double up, all these gates double up, like if you look at the bottom, starting at Pluto, you see 1, 2, 3 right in a row are doubles of each other. They're on either side. And then look right above, 48's twice. There it is there, twice. And then you see 33 is there twice on the right-hand side. Once there and twice on the right.
Twice on here.
And then 32 is there 3 times as well. There's a lot of doubling up of all of this. And when you see that happen, basically what you're looking at is, it's not, exaggeration is not the right, emphasis can really be placed on these gates more and more. The less number of gates you have, the more emphasis you can place on them. That would be a way to say that. So when she needs to correct stuff, no, she really needs to correct stuff. When she needs to check in with her continuity to make sure she's not going to fail, she really needs to check in, like super. And if she forgot to check in a little bit because she's immature and about to leap, nope, she'll check in again and stop the leap. So when you have a design like this, it's protective of her to not necessarily leap and jump into the void and just walk across the coals and make sure, figure you're not going to burn your feet, whatever it is. Charge into battle is a more appropriate term. Charge into battle. So until she's ready, when she is ready, she will charge into battle against hordes of enemy, knowing for certain that maybe she will be dead by the time it's over, and she will still charge into that thing. She has arrived at that spot. She has arrived. That's what I see in Tulsi. She has arrived at this process in her life to arrive at this spot. She is now fully capable, mission ready to lead herself as a martyr. Third line, they are martyrs after all. The third line sustains at not just sustaining your activity and your creativity. The third line in a 3-5 profile, and any profile, that third line, it sustains its conviction. It's the ability to stand by one's principles and one's convictions. That the third line sustains at that as a behavior. Their behavior is to say, nope, I've tried it. It doesn't work that way. And they stamp, but Tulsi, this doesn't look good. But Tulsi, you better hop on board with us. But Tulsi, you'll lose your standing. Nope, sooner or later, that third line, that's why it's so anarchistic, because it stands by its convictions. And if it doesn't, it gets sick. A third line that is not standing by its convictions in one way, shape, or form, are constantly giving up ground and constantly forking over, surrendering more and more land to the other side type thing. They're going to be unhealthy quickly. Their life, their energy isn't being used like a good generator. So, yeah, she's arrived at this spot. Ladies and gentlemen, Tulsi Gabbard has arrived. She has arrived at this spot, and she is like literally charging into the hordes of enemy to see where can she save her country. Notice she's got no tribal actual definition. She's got she's got two gates in the tribal circuitry. That's it, 19 and 32. So she's not overly tribal, but it's in her cross. I mean, the ego is the heart of the tribe, so there's no ego defined there. Gate 51 is part of the individual circuitry. That's not part of the tribal circuitry. It's where the tribe and the individual meet.
Gate 51 is the shaman gate, right?
Gate 25 is the shaman gate. Gate 51 is the warrior.
Okay.
Yep. The priest and the warrior. Basically, they are two sides of the same coin when you get down to a genetic level. But 42, her expansiveness is grounded in 32, and 32 is tribal, the continuity and the safety of the tribe. She can't help but to ground herself into something that is in a defined center, and she can't help but to speak that out when the moment comes. She will stand by her convictions and basically become the general. She is becoming the general, the fifth line general that said, that's it. You've martyred me too long. I've martyred myself too long. I'm an anarchist. I'm tearing down this old foundation. I will tear it down. She's a perfect design to tear down the old foundation. Even if she was a projector, by the way, earlier on in the day, even if it's a 2-5, because that second line can get called into it, same as the third line can simply stand in it, So if she is a 2-5 profile by chance, then she's called into the same spot. She feels the calling. So either way, basically the same energy on the other end. The warrior has left the building, and the correcting mechanism is now grounded in not the fear of failure of the past, the fear of failure moving forward. She's grounded in that in a good way. It's like, I don't want our country to fail. And she's going to challenge authority and correct things. In order to do that, she's going to have limitless sacral power to push that direction. She can't help it. The whole world finds the tantra of Tulsi Gabbard absolutely intoxicating. There's a similarity to the intoxication of Tulsi with the intoxication of what is her name? I love her. Owens, Candace.
Yes.
Candace was a 2-5. She was a 2-5 profile called into action. Remember, I was like, don't invite Candace if you don't want her to show up and say the stuff that's about to come out of her. You can't, it's unstoppable. She's called. She has been called. You can't stop that second line calling. It's a real force in the world. And they don't even know about it. They can't stop it if they want to. Third line knows about it. They've had trial and error with it, and they've even been martyred, but they stand anyways. To sit and take a knee is repugnant.